beautiful the hands that serve the wine and the bread.
I'm McCallister. This is my wife, Barbara. Several years ago, when we started our small group, we decided to reach out to do community service. So Barbara went online and did some research as to what was available. She found an organization called the Patriot House, which was part of the Presbyterian Night Shelter.
I got a hold of Harriet Willis, and she set us up, so that would be great. We could come over and serve dinner one night a month. Then from that, we became friends with Harriet, and she asked us if we could use any donations at our church. And so that's kind of how that started, as far as picking up donations at the Presbyterian Night Shelter.
God has moved us in unbelievable ways. Tuesday before pantry, we would go to the Presbyterian Night Shelter and we would get a trailer load of supplies to it. And it was such a blessing to our pantry and to our clothing room to get this supply of good, usable stuff that people that come through our pantry every Tuesday desperately need.
It's been a real joy in our lives, because we've been able to share with the neighborhood and the people that come through the pantry.
Absolutely believe God led us to the Patriot House, which led us to the Presbyterian Night Shelter, which led us to this blessing. But it's God's love for the needy that makes this entire process work. And it was none of this is of our doing. It is something that we just opened the door and God was there with this opportunity, and it is a blessing to have the ability to reach out and serve the community, because I think that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Peace I've come to know, though my heart and
Hi, I'm Toby Tyndall, and we are members here at Southside Church of Christ, my whole family. This year's been a very tough year for us, and I lost my oldest daughter this year. She committed suicide, and the world just got a little too rough for her. So very challenging for my wife and my remaining two daughters. Very hard, very challenging time. My daughter, our last full day together, we went fishing, and I'm sorry I get a little choked up when I talk about it, but she was picking wildflowers, and I found out that you need to stop in the world and pick those flowers and look that there's beauty all around you. And we need to spend more time looking at the beauty in the world and picking those wildflowers instead of in our daily routines of getting so busy and caught up in everything in the world. After my daughter's passing, I decided to just rethink everything. And so we invested basically everything we have, and we bought a little food truck called the Beignet Bus. And it's an actual little small school bus. And my daughters work with me, and my wife and I have date night on the Beignet Bus. We try once a month to come to the church and just donate and give. And if people want to share money with us, that's fine. If they don't have any money or they're struggling, we're there to give back to them. So it's a fun thing. And we get to interact, and it also brings people that are suffering next to people that are having good things in their life. And those people are able to have conversations and interact and have fellowship. God's only going to give you what you can handle. And this year, he challenged me. I also heard from Steve that I love what God's doing in your life and how he has shaped and changed my world from sheer just depression and just the loss of a child is the most devastating thing I think any human can go through, and how to pick me up through that. And like I was saying, go out there and look at the flowers and smell the flowers and see the world and see neighbors and friends and have fellowship. Okay, if I can start in my home with my family and then spread that love to my neighbors and spread that love to customers and just keep on growing it, and hopefully they spread that same message up to others. I think putting faith in God and letting God work in your world and work in your family, I think that's the answer.
God is able, He will never fail.
I'm Cheryl Marshall. I'm a 3-time felon, and they had the Hope class there. And I started going as soon as I got there, and Lloyd and Glenda Bennett, who do the Hope class, jailhouse ministry there, baptized me. When I came up out of the water, I had an overwhelming joy, and it was the beginning of my new journey with Christ. As I laid in my bunk at night, I talked to Him like I'm talking to you. I laid my plan. I laid it out with Him and prayed every step of the way. As soon as I got to the VOA, I filled out my church pass. I didn't know they had a Hope class here. See, that's how God works. He gave me hope in county jail. He gave me hope. Again, He knew what He was doing. He always does. He has a plan. But I came to church, and the moment I walked into the doors, I sat down in the chapel. I knew this was my home. I had an overwhelming, and what I call it God bumps. It's when you get that little, the Holy Spirit, that feeling. I call it God bumps. And I had those. And I sat there and I looked at Steve standing up there at the pulpit, and I said, this is my home. This is where I belong, and I'm never leaving. God has kept me, He's kept me grounded, but it's just, everything just falls into place, and I can't explain why. I prayed for a car. I went through the process to get my driver's license back. I want to help, you need to go to a meeting, I'll go get you and bring you to church. I'll go get you and take you to an AA or an NA meeting. And so someone said, you're like Uber. And I said, I'm Uber for God, because I prayed for that car for that purpose. And so I just thought I thought it was funny, Uber for God, it would just fit perfect. I can go to these other meetings all day long, okay? AA, NA. They're great. They're wonderful. But there is nothing like God. God is my foundation. That's what keeps me clean and sober, is God.
For the Lord